Hello, my friends. Welcome to Unified Champion Spotlight. My name is Craig Tornquist, and I have the great fortune of being able to interview the stars of the inclusion revolution. Today, we have 6 or 7 people here that are about to make history, not only in Indiana education, but really throughout America. And before we talk about the really cool thing that they have planned, I would like to introduce you to our guests. Together, they are the Grant County Special Education Cooperative. Individually, though, they're all great leaders in some really progressive school systems here in Indiana. And I'd like to put a name with a face for you here. In no particular order, we have the Superintendent of Eastbrook Community Schools, Mr. Brett Garrett. There's Brett. The Superintendent of Madison Grant United School Corporation, Dr. Scott Dietz. We have from Marion Community Schools, the Chief Academic and Technology Officer, Scott Hoeksema. And also from Marion Community Schools, I believe she is the Director of Special Education, Elise Payne. Is that your official title, Elise? Very good. The Superintendent of Mississinawa Community Schools, we hope will be joining us in a few minutes, Mr. Tab McKenzie. The brand new Superintendent of Oak Hill United School Corporation, Mr. Chad Kripe, and the Executive Director of Grant County Special Education Cooperative, Lisa Graham. Did I leave someone out here? Did we get you all? All right, very good. All right, so you all are very familiar with unified sports in Indiana. That's something that each of your school systems has embraced years ago. But you're doing something brand new, not only in Indiana, but for America, and that is a unified robotics competition. This has never been done before at the elementary school level, and so we want to talk about that first, because this is going to be news nationally. Lisa, Mrs. Graham, I'd like to start with you. What is unified robotics?
It's very similar to the traditional robotics clubs and teams that elementaries across the United States have, but the biggest piece of that is the value system of it. It's more about teaching respect and community and camaraderie, as well as being a STEM activity for all students.
So it takes the philosophy of unified sports, but really brings it into a whole new technological era. And a lot of people don't associate technology with the special ed students in your school buildings. Is that right?
I think that's fair to say. I think some people think children with disabilities or students with disabilities aren't able to learn and gain knowledge, and that's absolutely false. Our students have that ability, and we want to give them these opportunities.
And they have the desire to do it too. I mean, so Grant County, where is that in Indiana in proximity to Indianapolis?
That's an easy question. If you would have asked me some geographical question, I would have had to defer to one of the gentlemen. But we're pretty much right in the middle of the state and about 60 miles to Indianapolis.
Okay. And so the reason I asked that question is, how did this get started in Grant County, Indiana? You're not a huge population in Indiana. How did this revolutionary concept get started right there in Grant County?
Well, there's more than corn in Grant County. So one of the things that we're blessed to have is a partnership with ICASE, Indiana Council for Administrators of Special Educators, and also the Special Olympics Partnership. And because of our involvement with both of those organizations, I am considered a liaison between the two, and I get to hear lots of conversation about new and upcoming exciting events. And so as they were planning for their grant dollars for year 13 of Unified Champion Sports in Indiana, they mentioned robotics. And most of the conversation was about high school robotics and teams. And I just asked a question, why aren't we thinking about elementary schools? I hear all of the time and see on social media all the exciting things that elementary school children are doing. And nobody could really answer that. And I said, why don't we pilot it? And why don't we pilot it in Grant County? Because we have 5 schools that their superintendents and their leadership teams work so collaboratively together, and we have a cooperative. So we could champion this, see how it works, make the mistakes, get the kinks out, and see what happens. So here we are.
Great leaders ask questions. I like that. So you've got 5 school systems that are part of the Grant County Special Education Cooperative. Are all 5 school systems sending students to be a part of this? Who's participating?
Yes. So all 5 are participating. So Eastbrook, Madison Grant, Mississinawa, Marion, and Oak Hill will all have one team.
And tell me about the team. What comprises a team?
Sure. And this was not determined by us. This was determined by the people that started it. And so in the state of Washington is where this originated from, at least in the United States. And so they determined that a group of 6 teammates would join together. And it's a 1-to-1 ratio between students with disabilities and without disabilities. So there will be 3 students with an IEP or somebody that we support either academically or behaviorally. And then there will be 3 peers, or what they call partners. So 3 athletes, 3 partners on a team.
So they're going to practice just like a sports team, and they've got a goal, a competition's coming up. How is this organized? How is the event put together?
Sure. So again, we're using a model that's been previously proven to work. And so it's a 6-week season. They will practice every week. So with a coach, their coaches have already been selected, and the players are already gathering, but they'll practice once a week, whether it be during the school day or after school. And they'll spend about an hour together working on scenarios, teaching about robotics. They're using Lego Mindstorm kits. And so that's what the technology that they'll be using looks like. And then after those 6 weeks, we'll have a competition, and we'll determine a winner.
So there will be a championship, because just from meeting with these people before we started recording, this is a competitive group of human beings. So there is a championship. There's a trophy involved with this.
Yes. And let me tell you, I had a great conversation with our leader from Ivy Tech here in this area. Alex Husky has just told us yesterday that they will be sponsoring this event. They'll be providing the trophies, and we'll have individual medals for the champions. And he's very excited. STEM is a big part of what Ivy Tech does to support all of our local public schools with robotics. And so he jumped right on board when he heard about this. So we're very excited to have them sponsoring this year.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And where will the championship take place? When and where will that be?
Yes. So our hope was that it could be at Ivy Tech. And just because of COVID and all of the challenges with schools, we hope we get to have this competition live. But because that we are in that situation right now, we're going to do it locally. And it's been determined that Northview Elementary here in Gas City, which is where the co-op is located, will be the host this year, with the hopes that next year that it can be on that college campus, because that's what we want for our kids. We want to talk about vocational pathways for our students. We want them to have post-secondary dreams that maybe college or some kind of technical school, so that when they graduate and become adults and contributing members of society, that they're going to have good jobs that they've dreamt about. So.
One of the things that I appreciate about you is your enthusiasm is absolutely contagious. You're very excited about this. Why are you so excited about this concept?
Yeah, I champion all students, but I definitely champion for those that are what I would call the underdog. I want them to have age-appropriate opportunities like their peers. And I want it not just for them, but for their families. So moms and dads sitting in a gym, getting to do normal kinds of extracurricular things with their children, getting to wear a button on their shirt that has their son or daughter's picture on it, wearing team colors, and being involved in something that's more than just an IEP meeting or some academic thing that they have to go to because, oh, my child has a disability. That's not what this is. This is all parents and all kids working together in a collaborative format, just like any other competition. We're going to be trash talking, and you're going to hear it in a minute from these gentlemen. You know, every team's going to be wearing their colors, and they're going to come prepared, and they've planned for this, and they're in it to win it. They want a trophy. They want a medal.
Well, we've seen all of those dynamics in unified sports over the last several years in Indiana, and not only has Grant County been a leader in this unified robotics area, but you've been out front in unified sports. And I want to shift our focus now a little bit to unified sports because you all have a history with that. Dr. Dietz, Madison Grant High School has a state championship trophy that arrived about a year ago. And it's directly tied to unified sports. Can you tell us the story behind that state championship trophy?
Yes, I'm more than happy to talk about our state championship trophy in bocce ball. Now, admittedly, in becoming a superintendent, it is a bit of a dream to be able to pick up a state championship while you're with a school corporation. I never would have dreamed that it would be in bocce ball. However, it is a fantastic story. Our coordinator, Mr. Mike Klein, for our Unified Champions group here at Madison Grant High School, worked closely with the folks at Unified Champions to figure out other ways to be involved. We are not a large school corporation, so consequently, we are not able to participate in unified sports such as flag football or track. Now, we do participate individually, but we're not big enough to field a team. And so in working with the folks at Unified Champions, we had some options for bowling and bocce ball. And our group of students, along with our teacher, said, hey, let's find out what bocce ball is and see if we're any good at it. And lo and behold, we made it into the state championship in the final against Cathedral. And we ended up winning. And it is such a tremendous story with the support of Special Olympics giving us equipment. We received a donation of $300 that we invested in the team for travel. The kids actually created a spot out by the track. We got YouTube going to figure out what, bocce ball is. And then they just started practicing like nobody's business. And so it is really a neat story. And first day back this August, kids were already walking up to Mr. Klein saying, hey, when's bocce ball practice? We got to get this going. We have a state championship to defend.
And that's coming up. And I was there when your school defeated Cathedral, and it was a big deal. It happened down at Carmel High School last fall, sir. And it was a great day. So when the trophy came home, did this change your school at all? Did it change the way they looked at themselves?
Yeah, to be quite honest with, to know Mr. Klein and the cheerleader he is, for kids in general, having that parade down the hallways and things of that nature, and a lot of our general population learning about what we did within our school, it is really neat. And it did change, that feeling within our building. And then the students and the team were able to place that trophy in our trophy case among our other state championship, along with sectionals and semi-state and regional items. And so it sits in a place of prominence within our school building. And so it's pretty special.
Well, Madison Grant's been one of the leaders and champions together, and we've held them up often as when we deal with small school systems around the state. They say, well, we're too small. So no, let's tell you about a small school who's doing big things. And yours is one of the school systems that we hold up as one of those beacons. So congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Garrett, social emotional learning is one of the hot topics in education today. Do you see a direct correlation between social emotional learning and unified athletics?
Absolutely. And I must start by saying that, it's an honor. I know when Lisa came on board to lead our county, and I was able to hire a new special ed director, I feel like it really took off for Eastbrook and Grant County. And so I just feel like our children are really benefiting from this, not just our children with with special needs, but all of our children and our staff that's come alongside this. And as far as social and emotional learning, it's just been just another opportunity for all of us to grow. I participate in track meets and basketball events, and it's just neat to see the magic happening on the floor and also within the stands.
Well, inclusion is one of our big buzzwords, and we call this the inclusion revolution. It is more challenging during a pandemic for all of your students to not feel isolated. Do you see any connection between the concept of inclusion for all of your students right now?
Absolutely, and I think that's a really, really good question, really good point, because I feel like we've all felt a little isolated during this time, and I think that we have to be intentional about putting people together, doing life together, and those relationships that develop as a part of unified sports, it's just so critical to our being. And so I'm a great fan of it, and it's something that that we have to be intentional about, but it's important, especially during this time.
Mr. Hoeksema, in 2016, Marion was one of only 6 young champions, one of only 6 school systems to host a young champions unified track meet at the elementary level. Talk about how that event 5 years ago changed your school system and what has kind of been the ripple effect from it.
I think it's been a wonderful opportunity to involve all of our students, our students with special needs, but also just our general population students, had that partnership, that connection, that collaboration to be able to participate in an event such as that. And as it has continued to grow and expand, as we've added in football and basketball and the opportunities that we've had with that, it's just been exciting to see not only the excitement from the people that are on the floor and working together and scoring baskets or running in for a touchdown, but just to see the excitement and the support that is there from the people and the fans that are watching an event with that. I can think back to a recent basketball game, within the last year or two, where one of our students scored a 3-pointer right at the buzzer to win the game for that. And it was the excitement that he had, and he would obviously tell also the fans or the people around him on the court, but then that whole gymnasium, the whole stadium just erupted as well with support and excitement for that. And so just to have that opportunity to and provide additional opportunities for students to be involved that wouldn't typically be on a track team or event or in a football or a basketball, and to be surrounded by that atmosphere for their parents, for their families, for just the student body in general. It's just been a great experience from that event 5 years ago through what we've had over these last several years. And this opportunity we will have here coming up with the robotics opportunity, and just another way to expand to another arena that we get to experience here.
Unified Sports is one of the few events where everyone is cheering for everybody. And those basketball games, the one you just referenced, is that kind of event where everyone is just so happy for what is happening right there at that time. Ms. Payne, you're on the front lines as Director of Special Education. How have you seen the impact to your students personally? Do you have any examples of relationships that you've seen formed where you thought, okay, this changed the life of both the athlete and the partner? Talk about that.
Sure. Well, I'm fairly new to Grant County, and so this is going to be my first time really plugging in. But commenting off of what you said earlier, one thing that's really stood out to me, Lisa, her passion for this is very contagious. It's one of the things that I heard about initially right off the bat. And you can see the joy that it's brought to many of our kids and our families. As we're working through COVID and working through how we're going to navigate things virtually, that's been one of the questions that surfaced many, many times, is how we're still going to engage with our kiddos and provide this type of experience for them. I'm really excited about our opportunity to plug in with the robotics team this year. I think the key theme that constantly comes up is it's just another opportunity for our teachers and our students to deepen their relationships with each other while learning at the same time. And so our kiddos with special needs and IEPs who are able to work with their peers and their non-disabled peers and their teachers outside of the school setting and do something that's hands-on and fun is something that they've expressed a lot of gratitude for. But also our families, and allowing their kiddos to plug into an opportunity where they can thrive, where they can be successful, where they can learn and have fun all at the same time. And so really looking forward to the competition. Like Lisa said, there's going to be a lot of cheering and there's going to be a lot of competitiveness, but it's something we've got to teach our kiddos to do and engage in a way that's respectful, but also fun at the same time.
You reminded me of one of my favorite parts about going to unified events. It's when the family members meet each other, when parents meet other parents and say, oh, you're Ben's dad. Ben has been wonderful. My student loves Ben, or, you know, Jennifer changed my daughter's life. This is a great relationship and a friendship, and it's the friendships that they formed. And we are seeing that they are having lasting impacts. I mean, they're continuing these friendships long after even graduation from high school. So, Mr. Kripe, you are a longtime supporter of Champions Together. This is your third school system since I've met you. You've had various principals positions, your first time as superintendent. And I understand that one of the first things you did when you came to Oak Hill United School Corporation was ask, are we doing it? And if not, we're going to. Why is Unified Sports, Champions Together, Unified Champion Schools, why is this so important to you?
Well, I think it's what everybody's already talked about, and just the opportunity to provide for your whole community. And it's just great fun, and it's great competition. It's just great for kids. It brings people together. It allows and opens up avenues that wouldn't be able to, normally that wouldn't be presented. And it's just great. And I've just seen firsthand what it can do, not only for a school, but for a community. And I'm all about everything we can do to make things as equitable as possible. And then competition, sharing in that is what I'm all about as a former basketball coach. You know, I love that piece. And then just the spirit of sportsmanship and just everything that you can bring together it's just awesome. And then, you know, like yourself, I've been lucky to be blessed with a lot of mentors, and one of them has been Mr. Lonzo, who, you know, I think a lot about, and you know, anything he's a part of, I know is really good. And you know, I was introduced to Champions Together, and it's just an automatic. And as a new superintendent to a corporation, you know, to have us not really participating maybe as much as we should, that's just low-hanging fruit that you go and gobble up. And, you know, I now got to figure out how to play bocce ball, knowing that Dietz has got the champs down there. I wasn't aware of that fact, so I'm going to have to brushing up my skills.
Mr. Kripe, do you have a specific moment that comes to mind when you think about a unified sporting event you attended? I know that you had a unified flag football in one of your previous school systems that I believe your team made it to the state championship.
Yeah.
But is there a moment when you thought, yeah, this is something I'm really proud to be connected with?
You know, I think one thing that we've done right, and you know, you hear about all the things that we've done wrong, but I think one thing we've done right is just special education and just the way that society looks at people that have special needs. And, you know, yeah, going to the state final game was great in flag football and that, but I think about when you just announce the names of peers and special ed students, just, you know, just to come out and take the field or go through a tunnel, and them to being able to participate and just to see how happy and excited they are to be able to put on a jersey that's got the school colors, that's got a number, and be able to participate in all the things. And so those are what I think about, that just how fun that is, and to be able to provide those opportunities. And then I think too, you know, the kids that are helping and just being a part of the team, they get to watch them grow, and it's just such a win-win on both sides of it. It's just awesome to be a part of, and you know, it's great to come to Grant County and have Lisa and everybody else that is really kind of a front runner in this, and we just can't wait to join them. And it's just there's just so many good things. I guess to answer your question, I just think about announcing names and watching them run through a tunnel for just even a you know, basically a scrimmage that, you know, on the whole scheme of things wasn't even part of a tournament, but it provided opportunities that weren't there, and just to see their faces and everybody's faces, and just how happy and excited people were to be there. That's really what it's all about, and that's the spirit of the unified sports, and it's just awesome.
Well, thank you all for your leadership, and thank you for embracing unified robotics. I am hoping to meet all of you in person if that's possible. I will be there in November for the championship, and I'm excited about it and everything you're doing, both with unified robotics and with unified sports and just the whole inclusion revolution. Thank you, Grant County Special Education Cooperative, and keep up the good work.